You hit a certain point and you say like, okay, it's time. Let's jump off a cliff and see what happens. Starting this business from nothing was this like huge risk to take. It was kind of dumb, you know what I mean? Like you have a baby coming on the way and everything, and to say like, well, I believe so strongly in this idea that I have that I'm willing to sort of like risk everything. That was sort of like one of those light bulb going off in my head moments. I was talking to my chef about the future. You know, he's saying like, so what do you want to do? It came out of my mouth. I said, I think I'm going to open a ramen shop. The idea that I had, even on paper, looks ridiculous. To say like, oh, well, we'll go out and we'll sell at the farmer's market. It's like a tent outside. But I knew that if I had that clarity of vision, things would end up working out. And it did. Right from that moment, I started getting really serious about it and started making an absurd amount of ramen in our house. 3-4 day stretches where my wife couldn't use the stove and things like that. When I got to the recipe to a point where I felt like I was really comfortable with it, I took the leap and started things up. Being disciplined and being goal-driven is what made this whole thing work in the first place. What drives me now, at this point in my career, is my son. He's the strongest motivation that there could ever be. Better than trying to get a good review, or better than, you know, trying to get accolades from guests, is trying to like feed your kid. And that's really what it came down to, was this like survival mode thing, keeping our heads above water and keeping him fed. You have to love your craft. If there's no love of the craft, then you're never going to succeed. I think that's mainly what makes people not make it in the industry, is they don't actually love the craft, they love the idea of cooking. I definitely don't relate to the whole like chef is a rock star thing, and you know, being all about image and things like that. If anything, like you have to take a punk rock approach to it and try to not be the rock star and do things yourself and try to do everything your way. There's something really beautiful in just having your craft and being really proud of it and not throwing it in everyone's face. You come out of school with a vocabulary. You don't come out of school with knife skills or sauteing skills. You think you do, and you think you know how to do everything. But it's until you're thrown into a kitchen, that's when you like really realize how much you don't know. There were those days where I was like, you made a mistake. Maybe this was like the wrong choice. I think that like the struggle of the cooking was what I came to like really appreciate. I like the feeling of a big slam in a restaurant and, you know, doing the dance in the kitchen with a bunch of other cooks. Keeping things like right on the edge and just sort of like teetering a little bit is where I feel most comfortable in my cooking. And it's strange craving things as being so close to falling apart, but that's really what makes me dial in and focus and find my groove and find peace through cooking. I have 2 cooks working for me, and it's a completely collaborative process. That's always going to make a better product than just one person. I think what sets ours apart is using really great ingredients. You put that in the bowl with a soup that we try to craft like really lovingly, that's what people really relate to, and that's what shines through in the food. With the tools that we use in the kitchen, using something that's, you know, beautifully simple and elegant, that's like what I relate to. A company that has a quiet dignity about the product that they put out, where it's not about flash and it's not about gimmicks. They just say like, here's what we make and we believe in it, something that's sharp, strong, and that's pretty much it. I really appreciate that. I think it's a chef's responsibility really to contribute back to his craft. And you have to be willing to push yourself and question yourself. You never want to be in a place where things are too safe or too comfortable, because you risk becoming complacent and just falling in with everyone else. If you're willing to put yourself out there and you're willing to take that risk and you're willing to fail, the chance to succeed and to do something much greater is limitless.